Why are there so many weed signs? Like, weed is legal in a lot, in my state too, but in Michigan, there's like a weed sign every few seconds on those giant billboards, and I lost count after like 5 minutes. There were like 10. No, it was kind of insane. Welcome back, my spooky little beans. I wanted to take the time to talk about and show off my footage and pictures from the Oddities and Curiosities Expo in Detroit, Michigan. Now, it's not normally in Detroit, it's usually in Novi, so this year I think they did it because it's a bigger location. They've certainly had way more tables to sit, which is like, yes, it worked. I mean, they were still, every single table was still taken somehow, but like there was still room. You just had to sit with people you didn't know, which, you know, I guess it could be a little scary. And I brought my book of I to write down all my little notes, because this is how I talk to people. It makes it easier if I can write stuff down, even if it looks like chicken scratch. The more thing is, why do I have my headset on? For the product bans and info, they do not allow the sale of real bats or human remains at their shows due to the lack of confident confirmation these items are ethical, and responsibly sourced. I don't sell that there. That's if you're looking for, I don't know anyone who could actually sell human remains. That seems a little, you know, but you know, they also do not allow the sale of AI generated artwork in their show, and they recommend if you think something is AI to ask the vendor. They get people that think it is, but they don't allow AI art, and I love that. I love not having to worry about that. And they're also working against dropship style products in their show, like from websites like Timo and AliExpress, etc. You know, you probably know what I'm talking about there. They do their best to make sure all their vendors are selling sustainably sourced goods. And now we can get to the rest of the video. I was so excited to go. I wasn't exactly feeling the best that day, but I mean, I persevered because this is something I really like to do. It is once a year when it comes into my area. And I mean, we were nervous because it's Detroit, so like downtown Detroit, especially since it was like really close to the border of Canada, you could see Canada across the water. It was really cool, but it was really like, I don't know, the parking situation. There was a protester there the day before, apparently. I saw videos of that. I don't know why anyway. I mean, I guess I know why people can just be awful, but yeah, the parking situation was crazy. It was terrible. Online it never said 3 parking garages where you can park, and it didn't say those parking garages were all under construction, so not a single parking garage we could find. And apparently like hundreds of other people had the same problem because we were all parking just anywhere. We didn't have to pay for parking. That was cool, but like we were prepared to. But then it's like the one parking garage that was supposed to be if you're a hotel guest, it was like, oh yeah, if you're not, you're gonna pay like $35 to park here. And we're like, that's way more than the other parking garages were charging. They were charging $20 for the whole day, and you're charging way more, and I don't even know if that is for the whole day. So that needed some work, and also no one knew where to really go for the entrance. We were all kind of meandering around and asking each other and asking other people. Downtown Detroit is something else. Maybe people who are used to going down there, but a lot of people and a lot of the vendors I talked to were complaining about that. So maybe more signs, maybe have someone direct traffic. That was a huge issue. They need someone to direct traffic, and they need signs. They had none of that. They had nothing. It's like they didn't expect thousands of people to show up for this. It's a Halloween event. Do you realize how big? You're in Detroit, first of all. Do you even realize how big the Halloween scene is in Detroit? Like, there's so many haunted houses, and there wasn't a single person directing traffic or any signs of where to go. Google Maps helped a lot, but man, downtown Detroit is kind of a hellhole to navigate, and especially with all that construction going on. Oh my God. Anyway, back to the expo, because I have my little book. I use my little book of I to keep track of everything. I actually got a lot of people talking to me about it. That was something I didn't expect. It was a lot of fun. Besides the parking situation, they had food there, just not a lot of food options. Nothing for me. I can't have gluten, otherwise I'll get incredibly sick and break out in hives, and no one wants that. So they had a lot of bathrooms now, which were really nice. It wasn't much of a wait, but like in a lot of seating areas. But again, they didn't have a whole lot of food available that I saw, and the lines for it were incredibly long. They had like the world's tiniest bar. That was kind of funny to see. And then usually with the stands, at least in previous years, the stands, there's always a couple people selling candy or coffee or some sort of goods you can actually consume there. I didn't see a single one doing that, so I was kind of sad, because I liked it, because a lot of times those people will sell like, you know, gluten-free food or something more sustainable or something sometimes healthier than what they're selling there, which is like nachos and pizza, and I'm sure a couple other things, but unfortunately nothing that I saw that I could have. But you know, it happens. I have to say, now that I'm on ADHD medication, I do feel like my anxiety being around a lot of people has gone down. It's still high. I was shaking like a chihuahua a lot of it, especially towards the end. Like, it was very noticeable. I was really worried about what people were thinking when they're seeing my hands like shake like this, because I'm so nervous to communicate with people. But it's not that I don't want to, it's I just get this anxiety in me when I talk, and it's like I like to communicate, but it's just there. And it's also probably the autism too, because I was diagnosed with that as well. I just didn't, the ADHD diagnosis kind of shocked me. I had no idea that was coming. However, the meds have kept me focused. And they really helped at the expo because I was able to take some decently detailed notes, which I really liked. And yeah, but ultimately it was extremely crowded. There were areas as we walked along where it was shoulder to shoulder in some areas, especially some of the more popular booths, which you will see. Like some of them, it has a thing in there that if you're going to the expo, you're expected to be in pictures and film. It is literally impossible to not get other people in there. They're swarming the place. It is so busy. It's the most busy event in expo that I have been to. It's a wonder why some of the other ones, I'm like, I did it better this year at the other one, but that's because we were part of media hour and there were only like 20 people there for media hour. And then I came here for not, and it's like they're everywhere. And I was like, but it's really nice to see people like love Halloween. A lot of people there were dressed up in like Halloween costumes and cosplaying, or just in really nice outfits. There were some people in some very like interesting revealing outfits, and it's just like, yeah, some people just really like to have they have a lot of confidence. Oh my god, like a lady walked past and she was just wearing like a see-through skirt and very small undergarments, and I'm just like, wow, this place is awesome. But like, yeah, they also have like hearses there, so you can go look at those. Are really cool. They have shows going on. If you pay extra other than admission, they have taxidermy. I think it's raccoon, and then you can also do like, I believe, spiders. It might be beetles or spiders, I don't know. I'm not really into the whole like taxidermy is cool and all. It's not really my thing, but you know, a lot of people do like it. Now we're gonna get on to the vendors and what I bought, which is the main thing. I want to start with, again, they were very busy. You're gonna see people in these shots. You're gonna see a lot of people in these shots, okay? So bear with me and you're gonna see me in a lot of these shots acting kind of weird, because that's just who I am. I'm a goofball. I got to talk with a lot of these vendors. I got to interview some of them. I didn't expect any of them to give me the time of day, and it was really nice. And a lot of them also understand. I think they understand Neuro-Spicy people, which is really nice, because like they communicate me and they don't mind that I'm weird, and I love that. But yeah, let's get to the vendors. So one of the first vendors I wanted to talk about is one of the first vendors and artists that I have ever had the pleasure of buying from. And of course, I'm talking about the art of H.M.Schilling, and they draw with an X-Acto knife, and it is some of the coolest stuff I have ever seen. It's where I got my grumpy bat. And then at the Halfway to Halloween Expo, I also bought a bunch more of their stuff. And I don't know, it vibes with me super hard, because again, a lot of super Halloween. There are a lot of people there who do the different taxidermy stuff, or sell bones, or sell stuff in formaldehyde. That's great. There is a lot of it. I kind of consider it like a dime a dozen. I'm not saying that their art isn't valid. I'm just saying it's not really my thing. So yeah, if you're looking for that, there is a lot of it there. You have a choice of a ton of vendors. But like with the art of H.M.Schilling, you have a lot of people drawing, you have a lot of people maybe even painting there. I enjoy that because they draw with a knife, and somehow that resonates with me, and not something I would do. But I see their art and I'm like, it vibes so hard with me. I'm like, I just want it all over my wall, because I don't know, somewhere in my heart I'm just like, I don't normally see something that I'm like, I need this. Like, I don't usually have that reaction to a lot of things. I don't get attached to things very often. But for some reason with their art, I'm so attached. When I see something and I buy it, I'm so attached to it. And I don't know, I love it. I love sipping my coffee and looking at little art from them, or like my grumpy bat, because I'm just like, that is just my mood. But yeah, if you have a chance to ever check them out, I highly recommend their art. It's very well done and I love it. But we're gonna talk about, I believe it's pronounced Artetak. And that is their craft name. And they also made the Mother of Abominations, which is really funny because they made it for a church. They were commissioned for it by a church for the Mother Abominations. And I actually have notes, because I took notes on anyone who kind of gave me the time of day or, you know, was willing to. And Artetak is the art of Kate Logan, and her favorite creation, like I said, was the Mother of Abominations, also known as the Whore of Barbie-Lon. I didn't even see that. And I loved it. I love that they said they commissioned it for a church. I just love the art in general. Also, I did get something from them. I completely forgot. I got a bumper sticker, which I don't know if I actually want to put on my car. It's called Help. I'm trapped in Silent Hill, and everything is chasing me is really sexy. Actually, you know what? Never mind. I'm good. And you can see the little logo. I know it's backwards for you. I'm sorry. But like, and my ring light's in the way. Look at that. Look at that. And they also have a really nice picture of Pyramid Head that I was semi-drooling over, but not entirely. The next one I want to talk about is Audrey Benjaminsen. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not 100% sure I am. And I'm trying to go through some of these kind of quickly, some of these a little bit, you know, take some time, but I love that pretty much a lot of Audrey stuff comes in portraits. I don't know if they make the portraits or not. I didn't get the time to really talk to them. When I was there, their stand was a little busy and I didn't want to take too long to take video, but they have also a lot of unique stuff. And I was like, man, I kind of wish I could have bought something from them. But again, it was one of those things like, I have limited. I have to like really budget where my money's going towards for this one. And anyway, I do highly recommend their. I don't know. I have to double check to see if they're some of the artists do sell online, some of them do not, some of them only sell at shows. So it's like you can always look them up online to see if they do sell stuff online or if they do it through like Instagram. Next one, so I went a little nuts because I saw them, and I know I saw them at Frankenfest last year, and I actually bought their shirt at Frankenfest. One of their shirts, they have many, is BrianBrain Studio, and they're, again, some of these most of these stands have very elaborate setups, which is what draws you to them, but BrianBrain stuff is always so it really pops in color and design for me. So I look at BrianBrain, I'm like studios, and I'm like, yeah. So I like kind of ran at them, like not actually. Well, I had a pretty accelerated pace, but like I kind of ran at them, but I was really excited to see their art again, and I just wanted to be like, oh, I need to like ask them questions if I have the time. And did I get to I have to check my book, my little book, to see. I'm pretty sure I did. I wanted to ask them what their favorite art piece that they had at the stand that they were selling, and it was the pop out eye Frankenstein, and I will show you that there. The next one was Cobble Taxidermy. Now I actually have a lot, because I had some questions about that, because a lot of people, you know, see Cobble Taxidermy, and they do have a lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff. And what actually drew me is I've seen them before at the other expos, but this year it's like, oh, they have a peacock. That's really cool. But I was also wondering, like, how people are like, well, how can taxidermy be ethical? Because some of the stuff is definitely not roadkill. Well, it is ethical, because a lot of these animals, they said, for the bigger ones, a lot of the smaller ones are roadkill that they fix up and then sell as taxidermy. The larger animals like the peacock or some of the more exotic animals, there are animals that were in zoos, passed away, they were stuffed and put into museums, and then the museums decide to sell them to get rid of them to make room for other exhibits, and they're probably also, some of them were damaged, and then Cobble Taxidermy Emporium comes in and they go ahead and clean those up, fix them up, and then sell them. And there's a lot of work that actually goes into, especially the big ones. Oh my god, I can't imagine. Like, I know after seeing some was it Ghoul Host stuff, it's their taxidermy, there's a lot of work that goes with taxidermy, and I'm sure it also smells and doesn't feel the best on your fingers. And I'm just, you know, some people can handle it. I don't think I could. But yeah, I just want to make sure that people know that this is an ethical way to do taxidermy. None of these animals were taken from the wild for this or killed for this. They were animals that died from zoos, and other, like, this stuff came from museum, and then they were in museums, and then Cobble Taxidermy did pick them up. But yeah, just something I want to stress so they don't get any hate. And the next one we're going to discuss is Creepy Kawaii, and they had some of the cutest, I know it says creepy, and this is like a kind of like won the name, love it. They had some of the cutest plushies. I love the snails, honestly. The snails and the angry frogs, is that what you want to call it? I guess they're kind of angry toads or frogs, does it really matter? But yeah, highly recommend their stand. And they have like these snakes, I don't know, there's like, yeah, it's creepy, everything's kawaii. I love it. And then they had, I don't know what it was, but they had something there with like 6 arms. It was like these little, almost like a stuffed bear. I don't think it was a bear though. Again, they were one of those stands that, at least when I walked by, had, you know, a decent amount of people. Ooh, electric vector. they're also one of the first people I bought when I went to the expo for my very first time. I actually got magnets because I'm obsessed with magnets. You should see my fridge. It's actually not that bad, but it's all like Halloween stuff or zoos or museums because that's what I like. And Electric Vector, I finally got to talk to the artist who was responsible to creating, and he was wondering, like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I started doing YouTube videos. Like, I'm a really small YouTuber, but I have a lot of passion for it. And Electric Vector does all this really cool vintage art, kind of like the pinup girl style. Some of those are pinup girl styles, but most of it is like those old style movie horror posters, some of which are his original art entirely, some of which he takes old movie posters and adds his own art and own art style to them. So either way, like you're getting really cool. Some of them, I mean, I don't know, somebody's like, oh, I want that one or any of the 30 some that I've seen that I really res with. I'm like, oh my god, there's so many in here. They're all colorful, they all pop out. He had a huge stand and I love the way it was presented. It's almost a little overwhelming just because it is a lot to look at, but it's also really cool. He also does a lot of stuff for like cars, so if you're really into cars, you can get posters with that, you can get magnets with that. I prefer the horror stuff, that is me, or even the pinup girl stuff, because I thought that was funny, especially since some of it's also mixed in with the horror, and I love that. If you're really looking for something that's more vintage art style, I think that this would be a good artist for you guys to look into, maybe buy some of their stuff. It's also very reasonably priced. I asked what their favorite one is, and Moon Zombies are his favorite art, so I'll make sure to show like a picture. I got some pictures and videos of different ones, so whatever came out the best. Moving on to the next one is Fogbarrow. They do the spider drawing. The spider drawing is their favorite piece of art, is what they told me. And they do a lot of Studio Ghibli art, but one of my favorites was actually the Mothman in a suit. I really like the little Mothman. But yeah, their Studio Ghibli art was really nice. I also noticed at first, because what I saw first, not saw me, was the Princess Mononoke, the spirit of the forest. That's the first thing I noticed in their stand, was honestly that picture, and I was like, that print, I was like, really like it. But yeah, and the next artist, if we can get through all of these, is Ghoodles Doodles. It took forever to decipher what I wrote down because I couldn't understand my own handwriting. But Ghoodles Doodles did a lot of Halloween. I mean, obviously the purple pumpkins were probably my favorite. Some of them were unexpected with the way they looked when I pulled them out, but it's very loud art and I love it. I mean, honestly, some of their stuff has like that old Halloween vintage vibe to it as well, so that's really cool. Ghost of the Woods. I believe this is the person that I talked to. I did get to spend a fair bit of time with them, to be honest. They did a lot of like really cool art, and I asked them again what their favorite one was, and it was something they didn't have actually at the stand. It was, they said, if you remember those beetle boxes, like you would open it up and the beetle would be like moving and stuff. They said they made a really big version of that. And I was just like, that sounds really cool. They made art kind of in that style, and I was like, that they do a lot of like, look like kind of wood style art. The jellyfish one was probably my favorite. Like they have these little ones that are like they're not actually in bottles, it's just over it, and these tubes. They have various things from snakes to pumpkins to jellyfish. I don't know why I like the jellyfish. And they have leather patches, and that's really cool. They had some really cool leather patches actually, in fact, like queer pride and land back and trans rights and art fucks, which is probably my favorite one, and some other ones that I don't know if I can say without getting in trouble on YouTube, so and then Goblin Death Cult. So this was a story. I've bought from Goblin Death Cult before. I actually have 2 tops from them. I like their stuff. And my friend, we sent her a picture, Lili. I sent her a picture, and she wanted this particular shirt, but I'm like, we have no way of trying this on because we are very different sizes. I'm more petite than her, and she has very wide shoulders and a much bigger chest than I do, and I'm just like, how do we do this? And I'm just like, well, my husband has very similar size shoulders to her and kind of like a similar shape in like the upper area where the collarbone is and shoulders. I'm like, well, your shoulders are similar enough, so that should help us get an idea of how it fits in the shoulders, and then we can kind of go from there. And that's what they recommend, because they have a little changing room, which is really nice. So I'm like, go in there and try this size on, then try this size on, and then we're gonna figure out if that works out. So he was a dear and did that for him, and we found a size, and it actually fit her perfectly, which is like, yes. And yeah, if you haven't ever seen, I mean, they have an Instagram, Goblin Death Cult. Their stuff is wild. I love it. In my experience prints, they tend to run just like for women's sizes especially, they run just a little bit small, so just keep that in the back of your mind. Next one we're gonna talk about is Peculiar Coffin. I don't know why I said it like that. They have a very old style of Halloween art with some very nice frames for some of the pictures. The frames don't come with everyone, just keep that in mind. Not all the printouts have them, but their art is very nice. I love how it kind of gives me that old vintage Halloween vibe. Some of the stuff my mom used to have at the house when I was like a toddler, or stuff that she had when she was a child and would put up for Halloween. It kind of gives me those vibes. So if you're looking for those vibes, kind of those like not super scary, just a little bit of a spooky vibe, just a light spooky vibe, but also more like just vintage Halloween stuff, then I think this would be a good artist for you guys to look into. Perfectly Twisted Creations. I was actually attracted to their magnets. They have some clown stuff too. I say that like they have their magnets were like what attracted me. They have a lot of really cool art. They have mugs there too. The printout mugs, I love mugs. It's just a type of mugs I go for are gonna be more stuff that's handmade, like the actual like shaped and stuff, as opposed to having just a print on it. But yeah, they did have some really cool stuff. I love how every vendor manages to be unique. Like, I feel like at other art shows, I don't necessarily, I mean, you still find it, but at Halloween shows, like, everyone stands out. I feel like every single artist stands out. Parish Plushies, and I'm going to show you what I got. Can you guess what I got? They sold the cutest stuff. I rarely see something that I'm like, I have to have. And also bondage bears. Let that just sit however you want it. Like, they had bondage bears. Obviously, like, they also have stuff for people who have sensory issues, so they have weighted plushies, which was really nice. I actually got to. Actually, several people have, a lot of the stands there have different, whether it be weighted plushies or some sort of stim toy, stuff to help people, you know, process information if they're overstimmed. I really enjoyed that because I was also one of those people. But yeah, one of their favorites is the weighted sleep paralysis demon, which I will show you. And then, I mean, honestly, I loved him. I thought it was cute as hell. And then they had a lot of like different plushies. One of my favorites were the bondage bears. They had a lot of interesting stuff for plushies. One of my favorite my favorite one, the one that I got, is my bat. Look at him. Look at the bat. Anyway, I love him. He has a little bits of fur sticking out. Look at, he's like a little cupcake bat, and I love him. And I saw that. I really see something I'm like, I have to have. Highly recommend Parish Plushies. Very unique, very friendly people to talk to as well. I feel like if you go there, you're gonna find something for anyone. It isn't, again, these plushies aren't just for kids, guys. They're for everyone. I love them. Pickled Punks. I have been waiting literal years to buy stuff from them, guys. Why years? I don't know. I just never, I guess, every time I come across them, I was like, I'm already out of money, I guess. I don't know. But I finally got something from them this year. Unfortunately, they were out of the one. There was one thing I wanted, but they didn't exactly have that one because they were selling out of a lot of stuff kind of quick. Honestly, they do not sell online. So if you see them out and you're at a show, you better buy, because that's where they do the shows. They do the shows full time. They've been doing these shows full time for 10 years. 10 years. And some of their favorite pieces are Sad Squatch, which honestly is one of my favorite pieces, and the Jackalope. They're one of the ones that I saw and I kind of increased my pace tenfold to get to them, because I'm just like, I was losing my mind. I love Pickled Punks. I love the way that they stand out, and it has that carnival theme that I absolutely adore. And then on top of that, I love the name Pickled Punks. If you guys don't know what that is, that's when people, well, carnivals in particular, would put fetuses and other animals and stuff into those jars, and they're called Pickled Punks. I don't know, the name kind of stands out, right? Right? I'm not just me. Anyway, the thing I got from them, and I wish I could have gotten a slightly bigger one on like more of the fabric print, but isn't this the best? It's Trick per Treat. It's like Sam, but the cats. I do a lot of cat art and I love that. Always check your candy. Always check it. I love this. I can't wait to put it up in a frame. Plot 13 Studio. This is the first time, it might not be the first time at the show. It's the first time I've really seen them, I guess. They stood out. They have a lot of cool signs. I can't stress that enough. There's a lot of signs that I wanted, especially here, welcome to the freak show, because I feel like that's like me in my life. And also the wood carved signs, the way they're painting everything. They had a Silent Hill sign that was really cool, and they just have all kinds. As like I like signs. If that's not, I mean, I have a welcome sign, and for Halloween I usually put up a bunch of signs, so they vibe with me obviously. If you really like well-designed signs that are not necessarily all Halloween either, they had other ones, and some ones that I don't know if I can say the words because again, YouTube Poking Dead Things. I didn't get to get a good look of Poking Dead Things their stuff, because you're gonna see from the video they were swamped. They had really cool lamps. I wanted to get a better look, but again, I don't want to like have to maneuver around people, but they had a lot of cool stuff you can see from the video. But they only got busier after we took that video too. It only got like 10-fold busier. It was insane, but they have a lot of cool stuff there. Ravendark Creations. Honestly, I liked talking to this person, mostly because I think their shirt made me feel better about myself, because it said "'Twas the tism, my lord." And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I can vibe with this person. And I actually wrote, so Ravendark Creations was interesting because they've been full-time since 2018. Also, I think it's funny that a lot of people started around COVID because they got bored, and so they just started making things, and then they became full-time from there, which is amazing. Ravendark Art started full-time in 2018, and the Angel of Deceit is his favorite art, and honestly I can see why. It took him like a month to do, and it's also really impressive looking. He used to be a Wells Fargo investment advisor, and then he started making art and started making more money from his art, so he left that job to do this full time. And that's just, I don't know, an incredible story, to leave something that he didn't really like and then go and do something that is just like he's making a living doing something that he loves. And yeah, this shirt just vibed with me, so I was like, I have to talk to this person. And also his art, the pumpkin spiders, I think we all know which one's my favorite, right? His art is all amazing, but those pumpkin spiders, they're peak perfection. Or reaching for divine, but his favorite piece of art, which reminded me of Unisonus, of course, is Memento Mori, and it's also on his banner, because I'm like, oh, he's selling it, and then we looked up, it's like, oh, it's right there, because of course it is. He does a lot of Elden Ring art as well. It's all very well done, and I've seen him at I think every expo that I've been to, and it's just always amazing art. I know the Elden Ring stuff is like the Alexander the jar, just that's probably one of my favorite pieces in all honesty. And then seeing the bosses and be like, you were hard, you were so difficult to defeat, especially some of the DLC ones. Anyway, we're gonna go quickly now through them. Other mentionables, we have, one of the first ones I saw was Space Wolf. Honestly, their giant posters, like, kind of draws your eye. We're like, whoa, what the hell is that? And then you just have to go see everything else. And I understand why they had a lot of people in there. It's very hard to squeeze in. We also had Ultra T Studios, and Ultra T Studios had these, I don't know, these were very unique even for like what was there, like handcrafted. I don't even know if they were very sharp. I touched one, they're very sharp. These little monster creations that he did. And yeah, they're really, like, they're a little pricey, but yeah, they're very well made, honestly. I want one, but I'd also be like afraid to have it in my house because I have cats, and cats like to destroy things. We have Venom Dolls. I do have to talk about Venom Dolls because I have bought from them before, and I'm sure I will buy from them again in the future. It's where I have a little imp, Baphomet doll back there. That's why I got Baphomet last year, and I really like Venom Dolls. I think I love the kind of, some of them have like the button eyes, the stitched eyes, and I love that. I love stuff with little button eyes, okay? It's just like, I'm a sucker for it, and I highly recommend that. We are moving along to our last artist, which is We Are All Corrupted. And they're really nice to talk to, and they've been doing this for a very long time. The actual artist wasn't there to talk to. He had other artists and his friends running it for him that day, but they had some really cool art. Honestly, it's just like, I don't know, they had a lot of prints. I love the stuff that like stood out that was like kind of like not a washed out look. It's very black, and then I'd have an orange or a red background because it made everything pop. That was like in the front of the print, and I really like that. And again, they had a lot of creepy art. Like they had Courage, which I mean, I guess is kind of creepy in its own right because Courage the Cowardly Dog. But they had a lot of like creepy SpongeBob art that I'm like, ooh, this is kind of neat. This is different. And if you're into that sort of stuff, highly recommend you check them all out because they had some unique stuff that's like, I don't know how that makes me feel. Like, that is not, I honestly want to know like what goes through their heads when they make this stuff. Hope you enjoyed this very long video of mine and of me ranting and talking about the Oddities and Curiosities Expo in Detroit. I had a great time. If you like this video, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe. No pressure though, and I can't wait to see you next time.